Good evening. Um, I am nobody. I'm the storyteller for Soup City Sins, Steel Hearts, and Restless Souls, and most importantly, in this particular case, In the Shadow of the White City. This is going to be a recap of our most recent episode, our season finale, and it was entitled Our Falling Circular Glory. The episode was the wrap up and culmination of season 6 for In the Shadow of the White City. Unfortunately, technical difficulties being what they are, they occurred and we were unable to save the recorded exchanges of our players and all their wild adventuring. Luckily, or unluckily as the case may be, you have me. And so this is a quick recap. The episode begins with the coterie driving south along Avenue from the Rosie 2. Dia, Frost, and Muzan being accompanied by Dancer Dan, Faye, Stella, as they make their way from the Rosie 2 back to the Pisketeers. Now, Zach being called away at the last minute to wrap up some small business after having his heart to heart with Frost, leaves the rest of the coterie alone or absents their presence. Now, along with their thoughts, Frost and Dia end up having a conversation about saying goodbye to Seth's treachery. Muzan, still in the midst of considering the threat of Hannibal and the Venators, is self isolated in his own thoughts. Dan and the girls conversing about the wrongs of cops and the current systems of power. As they make their way down Indiana and make the left onto Layden Avenue to make their way onto Lincoln Avenue to make it home, they find themselves outside of a funeral home. And as they make their way, they spied a gathering of extremely valuable vehicles at the funeral home. After midnight, no one has funeral services. After midnight, vehicles such as that stand out, and that's exactly what drew their attention. They decided to investigate the funeral home as its location was in fact all too close to the Pisketeers, all too close to their home and their domain. It was a threat to their potential safety, or maybe something worth them paying attention to. So they pulled into the parking lot, had a few exchanges amongst themselves, and decided to make their way on, i.e., Muzan and Frost deciding to investigate, while Dia remained in the vehicle with Dan and the girls, at least at first. Things being as they are, they noticed the change of things and decided to go investigate herself. So Dia sent Dan and the girls on to meet up with Zach. After each of the three, Muzan, Frost, and Dia bluff their way and sneak their way past the guard and the guarding vehicles out in the parking lot. They gain access to the interior. Moving through the various levels of security, they find themselves at the center of the funeral home, where they find themselves in the midst of a gathering of local Hakata, who have been plotting against not only everyone, Camarilla and our independents, but also the other Hakata, the Castiglione Tories as well. The three are witness to the confession that the Hakata present utilized their combined skills to siphon some of the energies of the ceremony being conducted at that exact same moment, well, hours earlier, in the city for their own uses. The coterie find out that the Hakata present have only been using View and Felix as figureheads while they've been manipulating events to their best ends, behind the scenes, beneath anyone's notice. And this includes working with the Tremere to undermine every other sect. However, sadly for the coterie, and especially for Frost, they find out that for the Hakata present to secure and complete the siphoning, there needed to be a sacrifice conducted. The coterie note their way out of that situation, successfully and surreptitiously sneaking away from the gathering, just in time to hear the screams begin of the 5 innocent, pristine, sacrificial lambs. As the 3 Kindred sneak away, Muzan ends up accosting one of the vehicles out in the parking lot. He noticed earlier that had been keeping surveillance on the other vehicles and the other persons present. In doing so, the agent inside exited the vehicle, guns drawn, preparing to defend themselves, while the guards outside of the funeral home again preparing to defend themselves and those that they were hired to protect, began exchanging gunfire. In the shootout, Dia and Frost make it to the vehicle, which is Dan having returned, and Muzan makes it away with the agent's database. He initially believed that it was simply a member of law enforcement, a police officer, a detective who was keeping watch on what was happening and wanted to use that information for his coterie's best ends. Once inside the vehicle and driving away towards the Biscuiteers, Frost and Muzan realize that the laptop is considerably higher technology than the usual police officer's laptop. It is not a detective's database. It's not plugged into the Dalton Police Department. It's not plugged into anything even remotely local. It is a wealth of technological surveillance and a system to which just knowing of it is a threat to one's freedom. The episode ends with the coterie arriving just outside of the Biscuiteers as Zach arrives with the girls and the feeling of welcome for having returned home. There is much in store for the coterie. There is a lot ahead of them. And while they are aware as to what some of the larger pieces on the board are, there are more secrets to discover. We thank you for your time, your efforts, and your energies, and appreciate all of your given attention. We will see you all next time in season 7 of In the Shadow of the White City. Our first episode of season 7 will be Athenians Holding Esteem and Honor. Good night, everybody.